So hi to everyone. It's a pleasure to have you here. This is an informative session for the Regenerative Communities Fund call for demonstrators. It's a pleasure to be here together with some colleagues, with Janelle, with Chiara, with Jofi from ECOLISE, and then with Jorge, Florent, Teja, Zola, with Jose and Jorge from the different regenerative communities hubs in different countries. And this is a session to explain a little bit more about the call for demonstrators. So we will share a little bit more about this specific call, the tasks, the objectives of this call, how can you apply to it, and then you will also have time to spend in smaller groups with the specific hub from your country, with the Croatian hub, the Finnish hub, the French, the Spanish, or the Portuguese hub. So I think it's maybe time to, I don't know if anyone from the hubs or from the team want to share something before I start the presentation. If you want to say hi, maybe.
Certainly, I'll say hi. It's so nice to see lots of people here. I'm Janelle. I work with Juan and Chiara and Jofi. There's a few ECOLISE colleagues here, and it's just really nice to see so many of you. Looking forward to, maybe getting to know you a little bit and sharing what's happening with the demonstrators. Cool.
Great. So the structure of the session is going to be first a presentation. We will share also the link to you so you can look at it, and it will be one of the resources that will be shared. Then you will have some space in breakouts, as I've said at the beginning, specifically with the people from your country and your hub. And then we will come back to the plenary, and there we will have hopefully a long space for questions and comments, reflections, anything you need. The idea is that by the end of the session, you have as much clarity as possible about the call, and with the aim to understand your needs, your questions, and definitely to encourage you to apply to this amazing call and project. We want you to join this project and be part of this network that we're building together. So I'm going to share my screen. Just one moment. Okay. No, it's not. Okay, there it is. I think you can see it, isn't it, Janelle? Can you just tell me?
Yes, yep, we can see it now.
Perfect. So let's jump to the Regenerative Communities Fund orientation webinar, this call for demonstrators. So we're going to start by introducing in this presentation a little bit the Regenerative Communities Fund. Then we will talk about the Fund and Future Futures project, which is the European project that is funding this first phase of the Regenerative Communities Fund. We will talk about the call for demonstrators. There we will cover, as I've said briefly at the beginning, the tasks, the objectives, and different details that are also shared in the call for proposals that you may have already read. Then you will meet the 5 national hubs, then we'll have the breakouts, and then the Q&A at the end. So the Regenerative Communities Fund was launched in 2024 by ECOLISE. There in that link, you will be able to read more information if you want. And this is the first specifically fund, the first fund specifically focused on supporting regenerative communities in Europe. It wants to support regenerative communities through funding, capacity building, and collaborative or collaboration opportunities. It's a long-term initiative, and right now we are in the pilot phase. The hubs joined very recently. They joined in May, and this it was the first call. And in this pilot phase, we were able to fund 5 hubs, and we're working in 5 countries. But the aim is to work in more countries in the near future, and we are fundraising for that. The aim of the Regenerative Communities Fund is to catalyze local citizen engagement and community-led initiatives. You will see this abbreviation several times, CLIs. This is the abbreviation for community-led initiatives, working on regeneration, just transition, climate action, etc. Basically, what we are doing in the Regenerative Communities Fund is to provide seed funding, such as the one for this call, the demonstrators, training in different types of training, and then networking events, policy events, different types of collaboration opportunities. The idea is also that we are, through the community of practice that we're developing, so different sorts of mutual support, collaboration, project applications, etc., can emerge. We are developing an ecosystem of national hubs, demonstrators, and pathfinder communities, all of them in different countries. The national hubs, they are supporting at national level and coordinating different types of efforts. They are a key part in this whole call for demonstrators. So the demonstrators, as we will look into more detail, and I'm sure you have read about that already, they are place-based community-led initiatives with already a strong experience, and that they can host events and participants. And then the Pathfinder communities, that these will be the third and the fourth call, that they will happen at the end of 2025 and in mid-2026. They will be, the Pathfinder communities are community-led initiatives, but not necessarily place-based and not necessarily well-established. They may be community projects that are initiating and they have less experience. So as you can see, these are the 4 calls under the first phase of the Regenerative Communities Fund. You can see here below. And the demonstrators will receive 13K approximately, 13,000 euros approximately. The Funding for Futures project, that is the way in which the Regenerative Communities Fund is starting, is an initiative focused on capacity building and financial support to civil society organizations through the European program DEAR, this is the Development, Education and Awareness Raising program. And it's mainly focused on climate justice and just transition. And it started in 2024 and it will end in 2028. These are the 6 partners that are part of the Funding for Futures project. You can see the logos also below. The partner lead is Climate Action Network Europe. Then we have Climate Action Network International, ECOLISE, Women Engaged for a Common Future, Generation Climate Europe, and Christian Blind Mission. Each of them is leading on a different fund, touching on different topics connected to climate justice, such as youth, gender, global south, etc. And we are leading the Regenerative Communities Fund on regenerative community-led initiatives. And I'm going to stop talking for a second, and I'm going to show you a video that maybe you have already watched, but just in case.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Hi there.
Bonjour.
Hey, I have a question.
Are you part of a community-led initiative co-creating meaningful impact towards thriving ecological and social well-being in your area?
We believe the future starts from the ground up with communities like yours.
The Regenerative Communities Fund, launched by ECOLISE, is now calling for demonstrators, existing innovative place-based initiatives,
Tackling climate change, regeneration and social justice at the local level.
We will fund 15 demonstrators across Croatia, Finland, France, Portugal and Spain. Projects that are already driving change and are ready to inspire and support others.
This call is part of Funding for Futures, a DEAR program project co-funded by the European Commission.
If you're a community already making waves, this is your chance to strengthen your root, go further and help others rise.
Apply now to become a demonstrator with the Regenerative Communities Fund.
Let's build thriving, regenerative future, one community at a time.
Good luck.
Bonne chance.
Boa sorte.
Muchísima suerte.
You may have recognized some of the faces that are here in this room. It's very, for me, it's a very inspiring video made by a lot of inspiring people from many places. And yeah, the invitation is that you share this video and the call with everyone around you that may be interested. So let's jump in more detail into the call for demonstrators, okay, in some details. We will be selecting 15 demonstrators in the 5 countries. We will talk briefly about that later. So what do we mean by a demonstrator? A demonstrator, the demonstrators will become keynotes in the wider ECOLISE network of diverse members and community-led initiative actors. They will play a crucial role in enhancing strategic engagement and fostering collaboration among local transformative community-led initiatives, aligning with ECOLISE mission and complementing with European-focused work. The specific objectives of the demonstrators are well, to inspire, to be empower established community-led initiatives that serve showcase examples. The idea is, because the demonstrators are place-based, they are concrete projects that can be visited, that you can show exactly the change, the transformation happening in a concrete place. Also, another objective is to inspire and support the emergence of local CLIs, specifically on marginalized communities, and to support or strengthen the national outreach, communication, and mobilization capacity that is led by the hubs. Then to demonstrate the real-life impact, the contribution and potential of CLIs, and creating for creating regenerative and just world, and inspire policymakers and other communities. And finally, to strengthen connections, share knowledge, stories, strategies, methods, resources, etc., as well as providing direct support for Pathfinder communities. The required activities for the demonstrators will be the next ones. Each demonstrator will contribute to national outreach to marginalized and underserved local communities, and the promotion of the tools for granting calls for Pathfinders communities. You will provide support to Pathfinder communities by sharing knowledge and offering peer-to-peer support and being sources of inspiration as existing CLIs. You will organize an annual showcase event and a local policy dialogue, in principle together, part of the same event, in coordination with the national policy dialogue organized by the respective hub. And all of that will be part of the European Day of Sustainable Communities. Those events will be in 2026 and 2027. And then you will share success stories and good practices examples as demonstrators to be featured in the ECOLISE advocacy campaign, including the European Day of Sustainable Communities, and also in the Funding for Future's Climate Justice in Practice visual repository that we are developing at the moment. About the eligibility criteria. Besides the alignment with the ECOLISE values and objectives, and the FFF subgranting and campaigning objectives, all the applicants must meet the following criteria. They must be based in one of the 5 eligible countries that I've mentioned before: Croatia, Finland, France, Portugal, or Spain. These must be existing innovative local community-led initiatives working on climate action. That's very diverse. It can be on many different aspects. And how can they, what do we mean by innovative local community-led initiatives? Well, they need to have a track record in innovation and regeneration. They need to have a physical presence and being place-based with the potential to host events and visitors. It doesn't need to be something huge, but they need to be able to host visits. They need to be capable of providing outreach support to Pathfinder communities with a minimum of 1 year proven experience, which is not much. For us, the important is not the number of years, but that they have that capacity. With a history of work focusing on people with disabilities, that's that would be quite interesting because that's directly connected with the just transition focus of the FFF project. Actively engage in relevant sectors, that's very broad: ecological restoration, sustainability, climate resilience, social innovation, community empowerment, just transition. And they also must have a good level of English. Why? Because some of the work, it will also need to be at international level. You will need to report in English, and maybe, potentially, for some policy events, you will also need to contribute in English. Then the day-to-day work, it can be definitely in your national language. But you need to be able to read and to participate in English when needed. Okay? We can discuss this later in more detail in the Q&A. And regarding the application process, by the way, this presentation that will be shared with all of you, it has the links to all the documents, so you can also use it for that. First of all, this is the most important thing: read very carefully the call for proposals, because it's very detailed. So read it twice if needed, 3 times, as much as you need. And after that, download and complete the different documents. These are the 4 documents that you need to fill in: the Annex 1, which is the narrative proposal; the Annex 2, the budget proposal; and then the declaration on exclusion criteria and the declaration of honor. These are very easy documents that you need to sign. Above all, the Annex 1 and 2 are the ones that will require more work. And then, of course, you will need to submit the application form that will give you the opportunity to upload these 4 documents that I mentioned before. You will fill in the submission checklist, and with that will be ready. The deadline is the 30th of September, but by midnight, so you still have more than 2 months. But we know that it's a tricky moment because of the summer, so that's why we are giving you and anyone interested more than 2 months. And this webinar is part of the application support system that we are developing. It will be recorded, it will be uploaded. But then apart from that, we will have office hours. Basically, that means spaces in which we will be available for any questions that you may have. And ECOLISE will be hosting another office hour on the 17th of September. And then the hubs will be also hosting office hours that they will be announced when they are ready. Some hubs, I think they have already shared their timing, but not everyone. And then, of course, if you have any question, always the rcf@ecolise.eu email will be open for anyone to ask any question until the 26th of September. With this, I think I will finish. The selection criteria. We may dive deeper if you want in the question afterwards, but this is also explained in more detail in the application, in the call for proposals. But here is the way in which we will evaluate. You have a 30% relevance for the relevance of the application, relevance to just transition, climate action, marginalized groups, and also the national hubs alignment, because each hub, and they will explain about that in the breakouts, has its own, let's say, context and the own flavor, and also the alignment connected to the hub will be taken into account. Then 20% for the potential impact of your project or your application, communities, innovation, and scaling. 20% on the coherence of the design, clarity, the plan, the budget, the long-term sustainability. 15% on the organizational capacity and track record of your of the demonstrator. And finally, 15% on added value for FFF, need, benefit, and sustainability. Here you have a timeline in which you can see we are at the moment in this specific session on 20th of July and a bit before August. We will have the office hour that I've shared 17th of September, 2 weeks before the end of the call, and the end of the call on the 30th of September. The selection process will happen between October and more or less mid-November. The idea is that by mid-November approximately, we have finalize mid-end of November the selection process. And by the end of November, beginning of December, you will be communicated, and we will then sign the contracts and finalize the agreements. With the idea for you to start, or for the demonstrators to start by, if I remember well, the 9th of December. That's the idea, but at some point on December, or if for any reason we have a delay, beginning of January. But basically by the end of the year. And I'd say here you have a few more links. We will have also frequently asked questions document, and that is going to be improved with the questions that we will be harvesting in this session, and it will be always linked into the website. So I'd say that's it in terms of the overall presentation for the Regenerative Communities Fund. And here we have the 5 hubs. We have the hub from Croatia, the 3R hub, Regenerated Rooted Resilience. The hub from Finland, Jalotus. From France, Collectif pour une Transition Citoyenne. And from Portugal, the Rural Ecosystem, and from Spain, ECOLISE. So I'm going to stop sharing right now my screen. By the way, you can read in the link here on the slide more information about them. Summary. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for now, like this we can see everyone's faces. Okay. So maybe before going to the breakouts, can we just each of the hubs just share a few words, because not everyone will be able to listen to all of you, but at least like this we can see a little bit about who is from each of the countries. So maybe I can just pass it, and maybe Florent, you can start from France, and then we can pass to Teja. Just share a few words.
Few words about the hubs.
Yeah, about the French hub. Something simple before going to breakouts like this. Everyone will hear from everyone before we divide.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, hi everyone. So I'm Florent from France, and on our side we are working on what we call places of convergence, and we want to support places who are building cooperation and convergence at local level between different networks that CTC, Collectif pour une Transition Citoyenne, is representing. And yeah, that's what we do. So I'm passing to Sola.
To Sola, okay.
Thank you. So we are Smart Creation Hub, 3R Hub. We are an organization promoting sustainable living, ecological practices, and social justice. We are based in Eco-Center Recycle Estate in Vukomerich. And we engage in education, advocacy, and practical solution in areas like permaculture, renewable energy, eco-building, and community empowerment. And we envision our national center, our hub for innovation and regenerative practices rooted in community empowerment and ecological sustainability. And we will work towards securing longer-term support for community-led initiatives in Croatia. Thank you. Now I'll pass to Teja.
Thank you. Hi everyone, I'm Teija from the Finnish hub Jalotus, and we are an organization that focuses on supporting individuals and communities in transition to sustainable lifestyle. And we also run our Sustainable Living Center in Kerava, where we implement initiatives in key areas as sustainable food production, sustainable consumption, housing, and environmental education. And we also host subtenants and youth workshop and a visitor center. Happy to be here and see you all. I will pass on to Jorge.
Hello, nice to meet you. I'm Jorge from Spain, representing the ECOLISE, the Spanish hub. And ECOLISE is born with a vision of integrating different creating an integrated team representing different networks of community-led initiatives in Spain, like EcoVillage Network, Transition Network, Alternative and Solidarity Economy Network. And so it's intended to be a meeting place for the networks and support of the spread of this campaign, and also to create like a reflective space for networks on to think how's the situation of regenerative initiatives nowadays in Spain and how can we improve it. So very looking forward to collaborating with you. And I'll pass it on to Jorge.
Yes, so I'm Jorge Gonçalves from Ré Rural Ecosystem. We are from a cooperative called Regenerativa in São Luís de Mira. Ré Rural Ecosystem is to try to create a network of rural development initiatives. Mostly we are focused to bring together initiatives that promote rural development, address the depopulation issues and the desertification issues and so on. But of course, we also will work with so I think that this is it. So I pass the ball back to Juan.
Thank you, Georgia, and thank you, everyone. So I think now it's I don't know if Chiara or Janelle, if we're missing anything before we jump to the breakouts. I don't think so, but I just checking. No. So and other hubs ready? We will open the breakouts. Yes, just checking. So the idea is, let's see how long do we need for the breakouts. It may be 20 minutes or 30. It depends a little bit. So we will check. And at least the idea is to have 30 minutes at the end. So the maximum will be half an hour in the breakouts. Okay, like this we can have 30 minutes at the end. Everyone in the plenary. Please don't forget to take notes of the questions. And yes, we hope this space is useful. So, Janelle, whenever you want, you will receive. Well, you will see on your screen that we are sending you. Well, that we will open the space, and you can move to the breakout that you want.
Exactly. They are named. The breakout room is named with the country name. So move yourself there, and if you need help, just let us know. Okay. So I'm opening the rooms now.
Okay.
If you can't see it come up, go to the square at the bottom with four little windows. It says it says breakout rooms, and you can find where to go there. Yeah, some of you have found it. I think you're already going.
Okay, I see that people are joining. So you see one in Croatia, France, Portugal, Spain. I see, Chiara, could you maybe go and support the Portuguese one, because George is from the phone, and I think
Sure,
it could be very useful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All right.
So Georgia, Chiara is going to be with you, supporting you.
I'm going to pause the recording now.
Thank you.
Welcome back. I hope it went well in the breakouts. I'm sure the conversations were very rich and inspiring. I don't know if you had enough time, but at least you had the chance to break the ice a little bit and to start connecting in a smaller constellation. All the groups had between 4 and 7 people, more or less, which I think is it's very nice, like very familiar. And I'd like maybe to start opening space, maybe asking to the Hubs representatives, just maybe like to share a summary about how it went the conversation, and then we can, after that, we can just open space for questions, for any questions that we may want to share with everyone. At the end, it's the same call for everyone, even if it has slightly adaptations to each other country to connect to the Hubs perspective. So I may maybe pass it to Teja, and after Teja, Zola. And if you can share just a little bit how it went.
Yes, thank you.
few questions appeared, and we were also discussing about how would the Finnish Sustainable Associations network look like in the future, and how needed that is, and because we're all kind of working on similar subjects but in parallel, and also about the resource bank of expertise and methods that different actors are using in their work would be beneficial to organize that. And only few questions appeared. Seems like everybody who participated today had already read the application and a lot of things beforehand, so they are aware of what they're getting into. A few also felt that maybe the Pathfinder money could be more suitable because they are quite new, or they are guiding new projects that are relatively new. So maybe they will wait until the Pathfinder call will come out. Thank you.
Thank you, Teja. So Zola, and after Zola, we go to Florent.
Yeah. So in our breakout session, we kind of represent everybody, so the group knows who is speaking and what kind of field are they into. So we had really diverse people ranging from energy communities, permaculture hubs. Also, we had people dealing with agroecology and seed banks, and also one newly started cooperative, housing cooperative. So the main issue that we talked about is about the, let's say, legal status and what are other criteria that demonstrators should be complied with. Mostly, is it what for first the thing that was the most questionable is the physical space that demonstrators have to have, and what does it mean? How many people is it that they can host regarding the Pathfinders? And we will also discussing which is better, demonstrators or Pathfinders for each of the organizations. And I will now write all the questions in our presentation, so it will be left for the others to see. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Zola. That's a good reminder for everyone. If you haven't done it yet, please write the questions in the document like this that will be shared with everyone. So Florent, and after Florent, we go with Jorge.
Yes, very interesting for us. Free projects, really nice. The question were really rather at first technical, like regarding financial questions. Should the money support a new project or existing project? Could it be used to finance the place itself or projects within the place, aiming the public? Would it be possible to have co-funding? And then there were more questions regarding the words, as English words are, yeah, like the word community in France, it's already special. So we already know that, but we discussed a bit about it. And regeneration, same in France, we use it, but not that much. So there were questions about it. Yeah, we could have more time to discuss it, but we didn't. So yeah, that's all for us.
You're muted, Juan.
Sorry for that. So Jorge, and then I will pass to Jorge, that I don't know if it's here, or to Chiara, that was with him. So Jorge might be around. So Jorge, over to you.
Okay. So we have 3 representatives of very nice projects in the Mediterranean area. Yeah, most of them were from the Mediterranean side, working on permaculture, climate resilience, and climate vulnerabilities. And the questions they had, one was addressed to what is considered marginalized people, because it can be quite ambiguous depending on the context where you are. So they were reflecting of people that is kind of quite isolated in the countryside, can be considered marginalized. And so we had this debate for a bit, also considering not only marginalized people, but also vulnerability, no? How communities might be vulnerable for different risks. And we discussed also about getting equipments like the hydrators for drying fruits and legumes, so if it's allowed to build this type of materials. And the other question was about the level of engagement for meetings, no, with the community of practice and these. So what's the level of engagement and commitment? And but yeah, very nice conversation we had. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jorge. And Chiara, I don't know if Jorge is here or not, because I can't see his face. So from Portugal, I don't know if...
I think, right at the end, but can we explain?
Could you maybe share a little bit?
Yeah. Yeah, at the beginning, especially the introduction and everything, they did it in Portuguese, as it should have been. And then we translated the questions in English as well, so that I was able to write them down. But we had 3 people from 2 different organizations. One was Quercus, I hope I pronounced it correctly, and the other one was the Quinta Maravilla, AMAP. And we talked a bit, like there were a few questions regarding the call and the project itself, especially regarding the activities and the events that could be funded through the budget, and the number of policy dialogues and showcasing events that needed to be held annually. So it's 2 per year, 1 showcasing event, 1 policy dialogue, so 4 in total for the 22 months. And then if there was a minimum target for attendance to these events, and if there was a minimum length of the policy dialogue events. These were the main questions we harvested and collected. Yeah, I'm sad George had to leave, because maybe he could have said a few more details on attendance. I don't know if some of them want to say something, like Rosario or Marco.
I think Chiara was inviting Rosario or Marco to, if you want to share something else to complement what Chiara said about the Portuguese breakout.
I mentioned the importance of having these events within a strategy, either an existing or a new strategy, but I think that's very important, and that should define the level and the number and the profile of the events. It's just not an event, isn't it? It should be part of a strategy, obviously.
Thank you so much, Rosario. Okay, so we have a little bit more than 13 minutes, the 15 minutes left. And this is also the opportunity. There are many questions. I hope you were able in the breakouts to start replying some of them. But this is also the time to cross-pollinate between the different groups and to ask questions to everyone here, to the Hubs representatives, to the ECOLISE team, questions that may have not been responded yet, or other questions that have emerged after the breakout. So the place is open. The space is open for anyone that wants to. Exactly. So put your hand up and let's do popcorn style. And whoever knows the response will try to reply. So Vishna, and if you can put the camera, it could be awesome.
I don't have it in the office. Next time.
Okay,
I'm
next time,
sorry.
Vishna.
I'm happy to know some of you personally.
Vishna.
Knowing how affordable housing is a big problem, I was wondering, is anybody here also on the topic of affordable housing? Because I think that would be great to work on it together.
I think that was a question for everyone.
Yes.
So is it someone working on affordable housing? I wanted to connect with Vishna. Well, you can also write to her on the chat in case you want. Thank you, Vishna. More questions, comments, reflections? Let's not forget that we just opened the call and we still have more than 2 months. So the idea is that this video and also the questions that we're harvesting will be helpful for you and for anyone else that wants to apply. That we're making together. Okay. Pierre.
Yeah, sorry, Juan, I cannot put the video, but it was a question that I couldn't ask for the group before. My question was the amount of work about the reporting that we may have to do, explaining which dependencies we had and stuff like this, because the place where we are in Annecy in France, were a bit scary about this. European Union is known as sometimes very tough and may ask some hard work to do this kind of reporting. So yeah, if you can just share some information about what will be the amount of work that will be asked for places, communities that will be selected as demonstrators.
Thank you so much, Pierre. Very relevant question. And I think I'm going to pass it to Jofi. I can try to reply too, but if like this, we share a little bit. Is that okay for you, Jofi? Or I try to reply?
Yeah, can you repeat the question, please?
Yes, the question was the amount of work connected to reporting that demonstrators will need to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the report schedule is one financial narrative report every 6 months. And the process is similar to what ECOLISE and the hubs needs to do. But of course, the smaller the budget is, the less work you need to do. I think the most of the work is with documentation and yeah, there is a specific template you need to fill in. And yeah, I think at the volume of the budget you will receive, it will take a few hours. It also depends on how accurately you do the documentation during the implementation, right? So it's very recommended that from the start of the project, you document everything properly, so you don't need to start everything at the end altogether, like the timesheets, invoices. If you are doing this regularly, you will have less work when you do the reporting. But I think it could be a few hours, probably maybe maximum 1 day. But I think in a half day, 4 hours, especially at the beginning when you will have less expenses. But at this volume, I think it will be quite moderate, maximum 1 day. And of course, there will be audits that is coordinated by the lead partner, Can Europe, at specific times of the year where we expect you to be available for additional questions. I hope this clarifies your question.
Yeah, the demonstrators will, just to complement a bit, will be working for 22 months and a half. So that in principle, that means 4. No, 3, if I remember well, no? They will do 3 reports in total. Okay.
Yes.
And they will have the, let's say, the budget report, but also there will be some work connected to reporting that is maybe more connected to the actions that you develop, to the results of the actions, of the events. So if you count that also, that's a bit more time, because of course we, as Rosario was saying, there's a strategy behind. And for example, the hubs, they're going to lead a national policy event in their countries. The demonstrators will be organizing a local policy event within their own place. And the idea is that the national and the local led by the demonstrators, they are linked, they are coordinated. And after that, the results from those events will be used to design a European policy event led by ECOLISE with your input and your support. So the aim of all of that is to bring the voices of the civil to Europe with these 3 scales: local, national, and European. So of course, I wouldn't say that's reporting as such, but you will need to work on harvesting results and all of that on top of the admin side. I don't know if that helps you too, Pierre, but I can't tell you exactly the amount of hours. Though that's part of the tasks or the deliverables of the demonstrator, in a way. Yeah. Thank you, Pierre. And the ECOLISE team and the hubs will be there to support you also, for any doubt. It's not that you will be alone with that, and definitely. Yeah. Let's continue. More comments, questions. I don't know. Anyone that would like to share something?
There are a few messages in the chat by Leon.
Indeed.
Yeah.
What is the processes where what we discuss now is the part, what next, what before the results? I don't know if I understood very well the question. I'm sorry, Leon, could you please, if you want, open your mic and...
My ask is about now we're getting the discussion about which kind of alternative in the Europe we can put in the front of the scene, and to know how they work, how it's managed, which kind of people role it, which kind of occupation and activity is in. And after that, my ask is what do we want to do with this analyze, and what things is before analyze, and in the end of my ask, what is the goal of it? Did we won't find topics of alternative to be to get to get all the people around Europe, and in the end, where is the help from Europe? Can we hope to continue our construction?
Thank you, Leon. Thanks. Well, first of all, for most of us, it's very difficult because we are not using our mother tongue, I know. So thanks so much for the effort. I have to admit that it was a bit difficult for me to understand the question. I'm very sorry for that. And I would like to maybe ask if someone has more clarity about what Leon was asking. Pierre, please.
I think he mainly asked about the goal. We are going to do this different step like local, national, then European. So, okay, we are doing this work to identify needs, building communities, but what we would like to reach, what will be our common result at the end of the process, and how do we implement this vision at the beginning, from the start, from the demonstrators' needs, and from the processes that we may do together.
Thank you so much, Pierre, for the clarification. I think that's a good question indeed. The Regenerative Communities Fund, as I've explained briefly at the beginning, it's a long-term and strategic initiative by ECOLISE, and the vision of ECOLISE is about catalyzing community-led initiatives, because we believe that transformative, regenerative, let's call it however we want, communities working at local level are essential to promote this regeneration or this transition. We think that working at local level is key for this transformation. And I think all of us that we are here, we are trying in our own places to foster this type of transition, isn't it? But we also see that community-led initiatives, they face many barriers, among them the access to funds, and also the lack of visibility at different scales, for example, at European level, to influence different policies that are affecting them in different ways. So I think the vision is about catalyzing and supporting community-led initiatives, to give them more visibility, to give them to build their capacity, and to foster collaboration among different initiatives at national and European level. So I think that's the goal, that's the objective. That's what we want to do. And the Regenerative Communities Fund, I see it as a tool, as a strategy in the long term to promote this type of vision, where the communities are at the center. So yeah, that's what I would respond quickly, what is coming to me at the moment. But I would love to open the space for anyone else from the hubs or ECOLISE or anyone that would like to add more. David, please.
Yes. I think if we start from the idea of the project in France, is also to diffuse a certain idea of not how transition works, but how you can better implement transition at the local or territorial level, which is this idea of networking, but also backing the effort of CLIs to work closer together with other stakeholders at the local level, and in a more intentional way, a kind of intentional community for CLIs. So it's this more systemic transition we mentioned several times. So it's one example, it's the way to do it, and also in a community of practice to see how different projects in France apply this idea and help each other. That would be one example of, to answer Pierre more concretely, how it looks like. The hub dynamic, if it helps, I hope. I said.
Thank you, David. Anyone else want to complement what we both said or add anything else?
Yes, I do have a question.
Please,
from
Teja, over to you.
one of the participants. They are a rural permaculture education center and farm, and they are also hosting Erasmus Plus courses. So the question was that, is the funding under the DEAR program the only EU instrument that should be taken in consideration when applying this, that there aren't any parallel EU funding in the location already?
please correct me, Janelle or Joffy, but I don't think that's an issue. Indeed, for example, the Portuguese Hub, they are already receiving funding from exactly the Erasmus Plus to organize an event that is going to happen in the autumn. And they will link it to the national policy dialogue that they're going to organize. But definitely they can't receive funding from the same program. But I think indeed it could be a way to complement. That's my understanding.
Okay.
But I don't know. I see Janelle moving her face as confirming, but I like to.
Yeah, that's as far as I'm aware as well. Exactly, you can't have had DEAR funding from that specific fund, the one that we have linked in the call for proposals. It might have been many, many years ago. That may be okay, but it's the specific one, I think, from 2022 forward. So check that. But outside of DEAR funding, as far as I'm aware, it's okay. European.
Exactly. Joffy just shared the information on the chat, and exactly. I mean, you could have received money from the DEAR funding, but from previous call in the past, but not.
Okay, thank you. And then there was another question from a nationwide organization, the Rural Education Organization, that they have several offices around the country. They might have some action going on or project going on in one location, but they might be able to host the local event in another of their office. Is that possible? Can they do that?
I don't think it's an issue. I mean, I don't think so. We could always check, of course, but I don't think that would be an issue. Yeah, Manon has to go. Yeah, I think we should start wrapping up. Thank you, Teja. And maybe I'd like to ask if there's any last burning question. Someone that still have something important to ask, and if not, we will wrap up and close this informative session. Okay, so maybe we are many people, so maybe we can just, whenever we want, open our mics and we can, in our languages, like this, we can show a little bit of the diversity in this room. We can say goodbye, and we wish you good luck if you apply. We encourage you to do it. We also encourage a lot the work of the hubs to do outreach, to connect with different initiatives in your country, because we have just launched the call and we still have 2 months and the summer in between. So yeah, let's say goodbye to everyone. Muchas gracias a todos.
Kiitos. Moi moi.
Pozdrav. Hvala svima.
Buongiorno.
Pozdrav, ciao.
Adeu, adiós.
Adiós. Que vaya muy bien.
Moi moi.
Adiós. Gracias. Chao.
Chao.